Alright, hello. Today, we will be casting the game of UW-Madison Cardinal team versus Kennesaw State University in Smite. The game should be getting underway shortly, and yeah, uh, it's going to be good. Your caster Bolt Strike, and we shall see shortly if the match lobby gets set up. From the side of UW, I am a commentator from UW-Madison, so I will be slightly biased towards the UW school, but I will be trying my best to give analysis of the facts as I can see them and trying to keep a fair bias towards the entirety of the game. So yeah, it should be a good time, and within the next couple minutes, we should be getting into a game. And here we go. We can get into the spectator. Oh, the password is not APGL. Here, I will have to message someone for that spectate password real quick. Sorry about that. Alright. It appears that the password is in fact just Smite, so now we should be able to actually get underway. There we go. And so we should be getting into the picks and bans very shortly, and we shall see how the game turns out. I believe that UW-Madison Cardinal is still on a win streak right now. I believe going 5 games strong, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not aware of the record for KSU currently. However, nevertheless, I'm sure that this is going to be a match to behold. I'm hoping to see some big plays from both sides and hopefully some close games. So, should be exciting. Um, Unfortunately, the spectating has not queued quite yet. I might try reloading it real quick, see if I can get that working better. But, um, apologies. It's also possible that the picks and bans have just not gotten far enough in yet, so it is not lining up properly, but hopefully we shall be in it shortly. In terms of picks bans, what I'm expecting to see from UW Cardinal after talking to them a bit is I'm expecting to see if they are order side trying to prioritize the Kook lane. There's been a lot of talk about Kook lane as a jungler right now, and I have heard that Fishay has been trying to lab it out, but we shall see how that goes. And okay, some of the spectators here evidently don't even know how to spell my name. That's upsetting at Sean, but yeah. I thought AVGL was the standard spectator password, but apparently they decided to switch it to Smite, so that's nicely done by Zach. And it looks like we are getting into the game here. Kennesaw State University versus UW-Madison Cardinal. Picks and bans. It looks like order side will be UW-Madison Cardinal for this game, so they will of course get first pick here. I believe this is what they were originally planning for with their strategy. We see the instant Set ban. Set right now is one of the premier junglers in Smite, being able to run Mannequin Scepter alongside some other nasty items such as Kins, even packing on a Frostbound, and is a very prominent jungler. The Cuckoo Lane ban comes out. Cuckoo Lane is a absolutely dominating solo laner, being a huge lane bully. That is responded to by the Fenrir ban. Fenrir right now is a very good tech pick, being able to run either support or jungle to a very high degree of success. And the Giannis pick coming out, or the Giannis ban coming out as well, one of the better mid laners. So far for these picks and bans, most of them are pretty standard. The only one that stands out a little bit to me is the Fenrir, since Fenrir is not quite the premier threat that, say, Scylla or even Persephone is, but I imagine that UW Cardinal is trying to leave some of those picks open so they can top pick it and try and force Kennesaw State University's bans into only banning out very top meta picks. Oh, and it appears that we have been kicked out of the spectate. I don't know what's happening there. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We shall see if we can get back in. Oh no, the game as a whole is just closed. Interesting, because they are no longer in a match queue. Smite servers are flawless, everyone. Don't worry about it. Well, yeah, that's always fun, but, we shall see if we can get back into the match shortly. I would imagine they're setting it back up right now. Maybe one of the teams dropped a player already, just from a DC. I know that, particularly UW-Madison Cardinals support, Gator108 has been having some difficulty with his internet recently, so we'll see if that gets better. Looking at the comments to answer some of the questions. To Sean, my name is spelled with a A-N, not a E-N. Black Death says, let's go Cardinal. Hard agree here. We're, again, trying to give unbiased commentary, but in my heart of hearts, I am rooting for Cardinal. But we will try to present the game as it is. And, alright, my name is whack, as you say, but at the same time, you're more whack. Why is Venom so good? That is a question that philosophers have been trying to answer for millennia. This man comes out of nowhere and solos Satman, a pro at the game, with little to no effort. Venom is just a nutty player. I expect to see some big plays out of him in the duo lane. I'm talking pentakills on pentakills on pentakills. However, we should also be noting that last match that we casted, we also saw some big plays out of pretty much every role. So, UW Cardinal does have a strong team. However, I'm sure that Kennesaw State's team is also very powerful. So, again, hoping to see a very good match as soon as we can get back into it. But, oh, and there we go. I imagine we're going to see the same pick patterns as earlier. So, Set and Fenrir from UW-Madison Cardinal, and Giannis and Kukulane from Kennesaw State. So, and there it is. As for a last band that I could see Cardinal going for, I could see them maybe banning out one of the mid laners or Nemesis, one of the top mid laners like Scylla, Persephone, or Nemesis, because unfortunately they can only get one top pick as of being order side. So, ooh, Yamoja actually, they're scared of letting the Yamoja through, and Danza Brew as a final ban. This lets Cardinal have a selection of a large assortment of strong gods. We see the Guan Yu for the solo lane come out immediately. Guan Yu is a pretty high value pick right now for the solo lane. However, Kennesaw State has a lot of room to respond with picks like Scylla and Persephone, as well as Apollo still all being open, and even Nemesis if they decide to go that way, all of which are some premier picks for their roles. So I'm very interested to see what direction they decide to head here. Looks like they are taking their time considering it. I'm betting that we will see some top meta picks here, though, because if they let some of those slip through, Cardinal's going to be able to build a very menacing squad very early. Guan already is a huge threat with his ability to provide massive AoE heals and deal large amount of damage with a large stun. We see the Scylla coming out. Scylla is an insane mid laner right now with pretty much unparalleled amounts of burst damage, with her Crush and I'm a Monster being able to one-shot most squishies in the late game. And there's the Apollo pickup. Apollo's really valued this season because of his global ult that allows him to have a huge amount of mobility in terms of both split pushing and then applying pressure to other lanes, as well as being able to rotate into team fights and out-rotate the other ADC. Right now, both teams have picked pretty standard picks. We see the Nuwa and Cupid in response. These are also both very meta picks right now. Cupid into Apollo is a interesting matchup that I'd say slightly favors Cupid. Cupid's able to lay a ult down on Apollo, and Apollo's either forced to beat it or ult in return, and if Apollo's ulting in return, he takes a tons of auto attacks. As for the Scylla into Nuwa matchup, I'd be a little more concerned about the Scylla, just due to her large AoE damage and ability to set up so well off of other teammates and ECs, such as Amaterasu's ult stun. But Nuwa at the same time has a massive ult, being able to deal large amounts of damage to all of the opposing enemies, regardless of their location. So, again, both value picks. Amaterasu into Guan Yu is an interesting matchup. Amaterasu benefits a lot from getting early pressure with Mannequin Scepter and outboxing the opponent, whereas Guan kind of likes to take it a bit slower, clearing wave, being able to out-heal, out-sustain, and then just long-term outbox the opponent. So I'm very interested to see who gets an early advantage in the solo lane. We see Khepri being banned out by UW-Madison, and Tsukiyomi by Kennesaw State, as well as Ymir. The ban of Ymir and Tsukiyomi both make a lot of sense. Tsukiyomi's a very strong jungler right now, being able to both disarm the Apollo and Amaterasu, as well as just apply a lot of damage very rapidly. Ymir is also a great ban. The wall that Ymir provides is able to shut down both Apollo and Amaterasu pretty hard. I also do like the Khepri and Sobek bans, though. Khepri is great in being able to keep the hard carries of Scylla and Apollo alive, whereas Sobek is able to apply a lot of pressure by being able to always have the threat of plucking one of the opposing carries. So, again, relatively standard bans. We see the Ratatosker being hovered, and there it is selected for Kennesaw State. Rat has a very nice setup into both Scylla ult as well as Crush. Actually, as a theme we notice, we see that both Apollo and Rat both have large global ults that have a good knockup that sets up into Scylla very nicely. So we will see if that combo is ever able to go off. However, the Cupid Guan, as I see in the chat, are a lot more. Cardinal's team as a whole is a lot more sustain heavy, better prepared for sieges and long-term fights where they're able to heal up over time. I know that the ADC for UW-Madison also really is loving Cupid Crit right now, so we might see that come out. Especially into the team comp we see right now, Crit seems like very powerful. There comes the Nemesis. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that Nemesis has made it this late into the draft, with being able to run Mannequin Scepter and have so much value. We have Ganesh picked up, and then finally it's looking like it's going to be an Ardio. And that's going to end up being an Ardio support if it does get locked in. And it is switched to a Cerberus. Cerberus in general has a bit more lane pressure than Ardio, and also offers a really good CC into Scylla ultimate as well as Rat ultimate, and in general can just set up for some very large plays. However, as said before, Madison's team has a very good sustain. If they're able to stay out of the huge burst damage from Kennesaw, play around that, and then or just that hard dive the carries, then I imagine that Scylla's options to get away from a Nemesis double dashing are very limited, and Nuwa can pick up a lot of kills. So yeah, we'll see how this game goes. From pick spans, I wouldn't say that either team is necessarily super hard favored. I personally like the draft of the UW Cardinal slightly more, I'd say, just because of the chase down potential that both Nemesis and Nuwa offer, as well as just the large amount of sustain. But Kennesaw State has a composition where they can very easily dismantle another team, as long as they're landing all their skill shots. So we shall see. If in terms of where we see early pressure, I'm expecting the duo lane to especially be very active. Both Cupid Ganesha and Cerberus Apollo are very aggro gods in nature, being able to, although neither of their Cupid's early clear isn't quite as good as Apollo's, I'd say. They both have a large amount of damage. Ganesh being able to get a stun online on level 2, Cerberus being able to apply a huge slow. I would be expecting to see a lot of fighting there. But again, we shall see. Right now, we are just waiting for the delay to go through before we can start spectating the match. So, um, in terms of possible combos, I talked a bit about how Kennesaw State will probably be trying to set up into Scylla damage. However, it's also important to note that UW-Madison also has a good amount of CC, with Ganesh ult being able to limit the movement of the opposing team very effectively. With the huge AoE cripple from Cupid and the stun from Guan Yu, they have a lot of very powerful teamfight ults on their side that allow both Nemesis and Nuwa to apply their damage pretty easily. And Nemesis and Guan diving a single target is also scary, with Nemesis ult being able to make the target so frail to just get completely destroyed. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how the teams make work off these picks and then transition that into the later game. The one other thing to be taking note of is that Rathasker is generally a jungler that is able to get a lot of pressure very early on. As soon as he gets his Acorn online, whether he decides to go crit or go uh, the ability damage Acorn, that gives him multiple nuts on his stun, he is able to apply a lot of early damage with either his 1 and 3 and go for a pretty early gank. And we might see that coming out to try and just get some pressure early on. However, both these teams look like they know what they're doing and are primed for a good game. So I guess we'll just have to wait to see and get into it. Analysis can only go so far. And here we are. The 3 minutes are up and we are getting into it. I'm interested to see what build path they decide to go. Alright, here we are. As everyone slowly loads in. The past few games that I've seen for this tournament have had a few issues with network connection, so I'm hoping we don't see that this game and that we'll have a smooth, clean game. And yeah, we're just hoping that everything goes well and we see a nice and competitive game tonight. Still waiting on Collision to load in, but after that, we should be good to go. There we are. I'm ready to see what builds we are working with. So far, pretty standard stuff. Watcher's Gift, Sundering Axe 4. We see the Cupid going Gilded Arrow, actually. I was talking with Venom about potential ADC builds, and he said that he likes Gilded Arrow as a slightly safer option versus a Leather Cowl. And he goes Tier 1's Berserker's Shield. This has been a build he's been theory crafting for a bit, as he believes that Cupid doesn't need the sustain of either Devourer's Gauntlet or Asi early on, as he has his 2 to provide him with a lot of sustain. We see the Amaterasu going the expected mace, and we see Apollo going Leather Cowl, Rounded Shield. Apollo's a very mana-hungry god, so with this sort of start, we shall see if he is going to be having some problems there. I know that, again, there's been some talk about Death Toll Apollo as being very strong right now, so I'm interested to see how this Leather Cowl build works out. Both the mid starting Conduit Gem and Magic Focus, and then Bumba's Dagger from both of the junglers. So, pretty standard stuff as far as builds go, and we will see how things play out as we get into the action. It looks like a pretty even clear thus far, with both mid laners getting Slayer at about the same time, with Nuwa getting slightly earlier, I suppose. All things considered, Scylla's clear early is slightly better than Nuwa's at level 1, as Nuwa really relies on having her 2-3 to combo. Scylla getting big poke with the crush. We see out over here, Apollo actually going straight for the mid camp. They got a lot of early wave pressure here. Makes sense with Cerberus's 1 and Apollo's 1 being able to outclear Cupid's Heart Bomb pretty easily. Right now, the first wave, that means that the Cerberus does have a level on the Ganesh, and the XP is definitely in Duo's favor. In mid right now is just trading. Again, Nuwa's clear is being a little lackluster in comparison to Rathasker. So far, 2 of the neutral camps have been given up by UW Cardinal to Kennesaw State. printing out the right mid camps there. However, if we look in solo lane, Rearm on the Guan Yu pick is already pressuring the Amaterasu a lot. This is somewhat worrying for Amaterasu, as building mannequins is a build that is very reliant on being able to apply early pressure with lowering the attack speed and applying that dot. However, in mid, we see a fight coming out. Big root into Crush, putting Nua right below half, and Rat is able to go for Invade on the back camps. Again, Kennesaw State being able to get a lot of early pressure here. Nemesis not able to fully contest or take any of the minions creeps back. Yes, this is a best of 3 set. This is game 1 right now, and then after that we will, depending on who the winner or losers are, we might see a side swap, and yeah, whoever can come out on top of that best of 3 will get this set as a whole. Amaterasu also claiming this mid Scorpion. We've despite Red Team being able to grab a few camps more than UW Cardinal, the gold amounts are still very similar right now, and it's still anyone's game. We likely won't see any sort of lead develop until a first blood comes out. Although I will say right now, the pressure does seem to be decidedly in Kennesaw State's favor, with a purple buff buff invade already happening. Cerberus picking that up, and UW Cardinal deciding not to contest, instead playing it somewhat slow. Even though these early buff invades and neutral camp secures are very good for Kennesaw State, they are pretty easy to come back against. The main worry that UW Cardinal should have right now is when ultimates come online, and there we see it. The Amaterasu's ultimate comes online, and she is able to get a solo kill on Rearm, gaining a full level lead on him right now. That's very worrying for UW Cardinal, because Amaterasu really required getting this early pressure off to be able to have a strong start, and then being able to roll with it. So that is not what Badger fans would like to be seeing right now. But unless we see a jungler rotate over, it's likely that Solo is going to be under a lot of pressure by Kennesaw State for the foreseeable future. However, it is still very possible. Ooh, Ganesh taking a lot of damage from Scylla Root. Rats is looking for some pressure, it looks like, on left side. He might be looking to gank Cupid here. Goes into the ult. Cupid dash already down. Rat down, and that's a dead Cupid. Venom taking a spill. Again, both Rat and Amaterasu having a ton of early pressure, and with the Cupid down, as well as Nuwa backed, it looks like Kennesaw State might be looking for a red buff invade. They have it warded already, and are just going to wave here, but we might see it contested. However, UW Cardinal is creeping up very nicely around it, with Nuwa, Ganesh, Cupid, and Nemesis all here. Surbolt comes out. There's the Cupid ult, though. Scylla forced into I'm a Monster. Nem ult cleans up the Scylla. Cerberus now running. Nem blinks onto him. Nuwa also here chasing. Apollo is now coming into the mix. There's a stun on Cerberus. Heart Bomb should secure the kill. There's the double for Fishay. Rat tries to return it, but huge stun from Gator 108, saving the Nemesis's life. Big double kill from Fishay here, evening up the scoreline, and also giving Madison a lot of very needed pressure in terms of getting back in the game. And that was just beautiful grouping there. Going for the red buff invade with just Scylla and Cerberus, without having vision on most of Cardinal's team, left them very vulnerable to getting collapsed on just like that, and we're back into an even game state pretty much. The gold lead still slightly favoring Kennesaw State. However, it's very playable from both sides, and neither of the objectives, namely the Scorpions, have been able to be taken yet. In terms of ward coverage, Madison's ward coverage seems to be slightly more defensive, opting to place deep wards rather than placing more aggressive wards that allow them to make better plays. That is just the nature of them being pushed back in this early game a little bit, with a level lead developing in most lanes right now, being in solo lane and in the duo lane. However, mid and jungle are right now tied up, and support is only one level ahead as well. It looks like a fight's breaking out in mid, though, with Scylla going into I'm a Monster, being able to pick up the Niwa. Ganesh being chased in by Cerberus, sets up into another Scylla. Ganesh comes down, but wasn't able to get the damage. And that is going to set up very nicely into another red buff invade, and this time with only... Ooh, Guan's makes a rotation over to contest. Cupid is here as well. Cupid ult comes down, then gets the Heart Bomb on Cerberus, picks up the Scylla, Apollo ult comes in. Guan Yu's here though. Nuwa respawns, able to get the kill. Guan trying to get the Apollo, but the Mez is able to secure the Cupid kill, and it looks like this is going to be a disengage. Red buff still up, but a net swing of, I believe, if I was counting right, 2 to 4 for the favor of Kennesaw State. So, with that, we see the Gold League expanding to about 1,000 gold. We also, from Guan Yu's rotation, saw that the right side Greater Scorpion was taken by Amaterasu, who's now currently proxying. Right tower almost down as well. Again, the pressure is very much in favor of Kennesaw State, but it's not a unfightable lead by any means. If Kennesaw wants to really expand on this, they will have to keep applying this sort of pressure, keep creeping and looking for invades. Nemesis going on Scylla here. Oops, my bad. However, the team is here and Nemesis quickly retreats, knowing that it is a bad fight. However, Scylla put down to about 2/3 health. Guan Yu's in an interesting position as well, trying to look for the Amaterasu rotation. However, both Rat and Amma are there, forcing him back into lane. Nemesis is able to clean up oracles here, and vision of the left side Greater Scorpion is in favor of UW Cardinal right now. Apollo is backing as well, meaning that right now pressure on the left side of the map is in favor of Cardinal if they look to make a play coming soon. However, the level lead is still solidly in favor of Kennesaw State, with a level on the solo, or yes, a level on the solo lane, actually 2 levels on the solo lane, a level on the jungler, a level on the support, and even level in ADC. It looks like Rat might be looking to ward, or just leap around actually, see if he can get some of the back camps of UW Madison. However, there's a collapse happening here. Amaterasu caught out proxying, Ganesh stun into Guan Yu. That will put Guan Yu up a full level and catch him back up in the solo lane. Rat is getting pinged out as well. Most of Kennesaw State, or all of Kennesaw State's team converging on this left side right now, grouping up around the red buff to be ready to contest it. However, Cupid is here as well as Ganesh and Nuwa. Ward Vision is being... Oh, Cupid is getting jumped on, overextends there. He places down ult. Rat has to go in air to get out. Forces ult out of Rat and gets some good damage on Kennesaw. However, it looks like the red buff will still go uncontested even with that. Cupid looking to come back in, but that is a risky fight as he is getting collapsed on by Cerberus and Apollo. It looks like Scylla is being pinged out right now by Cardinal as well. So we'll see if a play happens in mid with that red buff given up with relatively little contestation with just Cupid dropping ult and trading out for Rat ult. In terms of the team fight right now, the ward vision of Kennesaw State is slightly better with the deep wards, as well as the fact that they have most of their ultimates up, where Nemesis ult, Nuwa ult, and Cupid ult are still down for some time. So if Kennesaw decides to force a fight either around this left side Scorpion or on Pyromancer, we might see that fight slightly favoring them. However, a lot of the level lead they had has disappeared. Apollo dashing in on Cupid, forcing the dash trade. Apollo still has some good pressure on Cupid here. Very much able to keep him at bay. It looks like he's going to take mid camp here, and in mid lane, Nuwa being forced back, getting pinged out by Kennesaw. Amaterasu making the rotation over as well. However, it looks like nothing will be got from that, and Amaterasu is going to be forced to go back to lane empty-handed. Scylla and Cerberus pathing over to Cupid Nem, being pinged out on the map, and Greater Scorpion is being starred by Ratatoskr and Apollo here. It doesn't look like UW Cardinal will be able to contest as it goes right to Kennesaw State. Oracle's also secured for the upcoming Gold Fury fight, and it looks like Kennesaw State might try and make a play here, seeing if they can pick anyone, but Cardinal is wise to it, staying safely under tower and back in their own jungle. In terms of gold lead, it has expanded slightly to around 1500 right now. Cupid again was looking to make a rotation over, but is unfortunately pinged out by a ward and has been seen. Oh, and Cerberus manages to get a kill on the Ganesha. Sorry, I missed that. Rat looking in the air, seeing if he can get something. Misses the Nuwa, unfortunately. Amaterasu goes on Nuwa as well, but unable to get anything. Cupid making the rotation over. You might see a... Oh, unfortunately, it looks like Kennesaw State does have vision. Apollo ult down. Cupid put to half health. However, Apollo is now in an awkward position. Gets caught by Cupid ult. Nemesis blink ult out. Apollo being forced to dash away. There comes the Nuwa ult. Picks up the Ratatosker, who's at low health. Scylla almost getting picked up as well. All of Kennesaw State at incredibly low health. Cupid cleans up the Scylla. He's clearing midway. And that is a 2-0 swing towards UW-Madison, and something very needed to put them back into a very even position. With those kills, they might in fact be looking to go towards Gold Fury here, and we'll see if Kennesaw does in fact contest. They have Oracle Vision, so they know that they are on Gold Fury, but it looks like they do not wish to contest it. First Gold Fury has gone the way of UW Cardinal, which is going to be huge in terms of catching up. That gold lead that existed just before this fight is now disappeared entirely, and the level differential has been closed even more, with solo lane now being equilevel. In fact, there being a level lead emerging from mid lane as well, with the only level lead in Kennesaw's favor being from support, which is relatively inconsequential. So, right now, it's back into an even game state. The next objective that should be looked at is probably going to be this Pyromancer. Both teams have it currently warded, although it's only a vision shard by UW-Madison. There looks like Kennesaw State is going to try and get a red buff invade here again. With Nuwa backing off, Ganesh and Nemesis are here, but the red buff goes down uncontested. Cerberus taking it and getting out cleanly. However, in that time, Nuwa getting pinged out, Scylla going for the Crush Sikkim combo, not quite hitting the mark. And right now it's game. Oh, Nemesis is trying to solo Pyromancer right now. Amaterasu knows though that, so Fishay is forced off of it. Guan Yu and Nemesis being forced to retreat, while Amaterasu making a rotation over to mid, going to pick up the Greater Scorpion on Kennesaw State side. We see both sides kind of hovering around this Pyromancer right now, being grouped up ready for this fight, with Nuwa still being slightly stuck under tower. However, and also Ward Vision right now is entirely in favor of Kennesaw State for this objective, with a sentry both here and here, forcing UW-Madison into a bit of a predicament. The Sikkim on Nuwa dealing a large amount of damage as well, and Cerberus and Amaterasu have made their rotation over. Rat is lurking in duo lane though, might be looking for a pick on the Cupid while action's happening in mid. However, Nemesis is aware oh wait, no, Nemesis is just going to the Greater Scorpion, which Rat is in position to contest actually. Doesn't seem like Nemesis has seen Rat there yet. Rat decides not to try and fight it though, with Cupid rotating over, making it impossible to contest. And right now, it looks like there's a Pyro call from Kennesaw State, taking advantage of the fact that UW-Madison has no vision. Guan Yu rotates over, but is a bit too late. Kennesaw secure the objective with no fight. Again, giving them a solid amount of gold and that movement speed buff. Kennesaw has to be feeling pretty happy with that call, as they then go for the enhanced red buff invade as well. Apollo coming over, and Cupid has no way that he can fight this. Cupid is back getting caught out and surrounded here. You might see Rat's going in air as well, going to be looking to dunk down on this Cupid probably. Cerber tanking the tower, Apollo in air, dash down, There's the Apollo off the mark. I'm a monster down. That's all except Cerberus's ult down from the side of, and there's Serval. That's all the ults of everyone over on the left side, and no kill. And Apollo being forced to Aegis gets caught by a beautiful Ganesh ult into Heart Bomb. That 4-man gank on a lone Cupid got converted into a kill for UW Cardinal. That is a huge problem for Kennesaw State, with the Amaterasu almost going down as well, and Scylla and Cerberus being chased out. That's a lot of lost farm for Kennesaw State for no gain, and gives Cardinal a good amount of map control, being able to go for invades and look for pressure on this right side tier 2 right now. I see someone in chat saying that you don't tempt Venom with free kills. Venom did in fact manage to somehow slip out of that situation, and now they're going to get a left side tier 1 off of it for free. In terms of itemization right now, we see that Cupid is building a Fail Knot already, so Cupid has hit a huge power spike. Apollo also has the Fail Knot and is working towards Wind Demon, so both of the ADCs are now getting towards their late game build where they shall shred. So I'm expecting to see more plays from both of those players. We see that Scylla is deciding to go the path of lifesteal as well, with no real anti-heal on the side of UW Cardinal yet, being online. So we'll see how that plays out. Cerberus here trying to zone out the Guan Yu and Nemesis. We're probably going to see a fight over this Primal Fury next, if I had to guess. That or a play trying to get a pick to set up into Fire Giant. However, it looks like the Scylla and Cerberus are heading over to that left side right now, with Apollo still having a fair amount of pressure. Nuwa able to secure the enhanced red buff before Cerberus can get there to fight, or check it. Scylla getting oracles, though, having vision of that Primal Fury. Right now, again, in a pretty even game state in terms of gold and level leads, with either team being able to make good plays. Stun on the Amaterasu, blink in from Cerberus, Ama ult goes down, Nuwa ult forced out to dodge it, Guan goes on Ama, Scylla is in I'm a Monster looking to see if they can get the kill. So it goes on the Nuwa, picks up the kill, gets the reset, also hits Guan. Guan now in a lot of trouble, forced into the horse. We see the Ganesh ult go down, as well as the Cupid ult, getting the 2 kills on the Rat and the Apollo, forcing Kennesaw State to back off. Nemesis blink in, but immediately gets hit by a beautiful Sycam into Crush. However, Cupid's looking to still apply pressure, getting the stun, dashing in on the Cerberus. Ganesh and Cupid able to clean up Amaterasu, or Cerberus, chasing down Amaterasu, but she blinks out barely. Nemesis getting healed from the Crush as well. And right now, with 4 on the side of UW Cardinal, it looks like they're going to go for a Fire Giant play. That was a huge play by Fichet there, as well as a giant ult by Venom MR being able to set up for a very nice fight that was completely in Cardinal's favor. Scylla and Amaterasu looking to contest, but getting walled out by Ganesha. Guan Yu stuns, and Amaterasu might lose their life. Barely gets out with a beautiful 3. Both Scylla and Ama get out with their lives, but Fire Giant goes the way of UW Madison. And with that, we start seeing a pretty substantial lead of, or the first substantial lead of 2,000 gold appearing, as well as a level lead. However, this is only going to expand when UW Madison look toward Primal Fury. Ratatoskler is aware of it happening. However, I don't think the rest of Kennesaw State is there to be able to contest. It looks like with that, some of Cardinal is going to try and reset to get some of that gold they just earned spent. And then they might be looking to clear out their own camps before grouping up and looking for an actual push to get some of these tier 2 towers down on Kennesaw State's side. With that, we see some important items getting finished, with Kin Size picked up by Cupid. Generally, you don't see Crit and Kin Size built at the same time, but apparently he felt for the value versus Cerberus and Amaterasu, as well as the beauty of the Crit versus all of the squishies on Kennesaw's side, that it was worth it. UW Madison looking to pick Pyromancer. However, Amaterasu is here. They did not decide to drop Pyromancer. They're going to try and secure it, and they do manage to out-secure Amaterasu, with Ganesha up there as well, looking to gauge if the Amaterasu takes a wrong step. Right now, that's all 3 major neutral objectives on the map going the way of UW Cardinal, and With that, we see a slight gold shift. However, that's only going to be expanded as they start pushing to take towers. Apollo does split push and grab a left tier 1 as well as push left wave up a good amount. However, Kennesaw State is still in a nasty position. Tries to go for a blue Laden bus, does get it successfully. And Amaterasu is going to back off. However, we see grouping on the left side by UW-Madison. Nuwa backing, though. They still have a good amount of Fire Giant left, but haven't decided that they want to actually commit to a push yet. Right now, we can see through the player damage numbers that it is, in fact, Venom on the Cupid that is shredding the opponent team, whereas the Apollo is only in the middle of the Sharps. Cupid making a huge difference here. Also having the FG and purple buff online, and probably picking up this enhanced purple is going to be big in terms of shredding it. He also just hit level 20, as well as the Apollo, so both of these hunters are now into their full builds, where they shall be able to pick up that evolved starter. Apollo already has. We see the team fight start. Cupid ult comes down onto Amaterasu. Amaterasu silenced out and ulted by Nemesis. A lot committed by EW Madison, but the Nemesis kill is picked up. Huge damage from Nuwa, able to kill the rat. And now, in a 5v3 scenario, Kennesaw State is forced to sacrifice this tier 2. That's a huge team fight in favor of Madison and gives them a lot of potential to be able to even look towards this left Phoenix here, with Fire Giant still on them for a few more seconds. Scylla throws their abilities down. Ganesh immediately goes into tank. Cupid burning into that Phoenix, and it looks like, well, Nemesis is looking to zone, and that is the first Phoenix of the game in favor of UW Madison. They decide not to get greedy and instead back off towards the mid-tier 2, trying to get more of this gold on the map in their favor and make use of their Fire Giant buff while it still lasts, setting them in a very dominating position. All of a sudden, the 2,000 gold lead they had from getting those objectives earlier has all of a sudden transformed into an almost 6,000 gold lead, and with level 20 being hit by most of UW-Madison's team very soon, we're going to see that be translated into a lot of evolved starter items. Kennesaw State not looking to put up a hard defense on this tier 2, but are grouping to contest in case Phoenix pushes looked for. Fire Giant falls off UW-Madison, so likely what we're going to see right now is a reset for a Fire Giant fight coming up soon. Right now, the Nemesis is also doing a lot more than the Ratatosker. The Notace, I don't know how to pronounce his name, needs to be able to get in and dive, because right now Nemesis is being able to use her ult effectively and blow up any of the carries on Kennesaw State's side before they can react. Right now, that target selection and prioritization from UW-Madison has been deterministic of these fights, and with this much of a disadvantage, with waves now pushing into the left side of Kennesaw's base, Kennesaw is going to need a very solid team fight to try and contest this very powerful team, especially now that Nemesis has gotten Bumba's Hammer. We're seeing key items such as Archmage's Gem come online. It is very scary to fight into these level 20s while the opposing side has not been able to upgrade their stars yet, with both the Mannequin Scepter and Conduit Gem still being there. And that is a Fire Giant call from UW-Madison, and Kennesaw State are going to get it up without contesting, instead opting to try and trade out Primal, it looks like. However, it looks like they realize that they won't have time for that, being forced back by UW-Madison immediately going for that right side Phoenix push. We're going to see the first real full siege of the game here, with the trying to establish ward vision over the right side lane. Likely their UW-Madison is waiting for either the minions to push up a bit on left side or for this wave to push in here. Right now, it is a very much a stalemated situation, though. However, Madison has time, with just getting the Fire Giant buff. Nemesis going over and clearing out some of the mid waves, going to allow that the mid lane to be pushed up. So right now, all three lanes are pushing in favor of Cardinal. And with so long on Fire Giant, they will likely wait until they can have pressure on one of the other Phoenixes to go for the siege attempt. However, And this time, it has allowed Scylla to take over 20, getting so as soon as she has the gold, she will be able to pick up that Archmage gem, which is a huge power spike. Nemesis, however, is knocking at the gate of the mid Phoenix, forcing a two-man rotation over with Rat being there and Scylla coming. Cardinal do not take the opportunity to try and push in. However, now that Rat's all the way over having to defend left side Phoenix coming up, Cardinal goes in. Huge double sick'em by Scylla, puts Ganesh down very low. Shell comes out, Ganesh ult there. Amaterasu being put through the Ganesh ult and Cupid ult, taking huge amounts of damage. And now, Cerberus tries to come in, deals a large amount of damage, but Cupid is still unfaltered, railing into that Phoenix. We see Guan Yu zoning out the Cerberus and Scylla super effectively without being able to do a whole lot. Rat, that entire fight, was forced to push up this left side wave unless he wanted to sacrifice their Phoenix that just came up. Madison is, however, going to set their eyes now on that mid Phoenix, with Ganesh being able to live that last fight and regen a lot of health, silencing Scylla out and Apollo and Rat all being forced, and then at the end of the day, Cerberus is the one getting caught out. Rat forced into air, however, he won't be able to re-engage very easily. It looks like an end call has come out of Madison. Rat goes down on the Guan Yu and immediately gets burst for it. Apollo comes into air. It's going to look. Goes down in the middle of them. Gets a huge mez, but Fisher is ready. And that is GG. The Nemesis popping off with a 5-1-7 game. Cupid as well having a huge play. Both of their player damage being incredibly high. And then Nuwa doing what Nuwa does best, just putting out huge player damage numbers from those ults. Kennesaw State had a pretty strong start of that game, but as soon as it got into the 5v5 teamfight stages, Cardinal's target selection as well as coordination and grouping were just too much for them to handle in this game. Evidently for them, the biggest threats were likely the Nemesis and the Cupid. However, the Nemesis was the one being able to make a lot of plays, whereas the Rat was not being able to do anything near as effective. So, in this upcoming game, we might see some adjustments, maybe including a Nemesis ban coming out, as Fisher is obviously a menace on this pick. I will try to get a post-game interview, however, this is a best of 3, so that is only game 1 in favor of Cardinal. There might be up to 2 more matches before we can actually get that interview going. Yeah, that jungle difference, that game was very rough. Ratatosker was able to get off some early pressure and make some good plays. However, by the time it was getting into late game, or mid game even, he was not able to find any kills, nor be able to really clear camps in a meaningful way to keep up with the levels and the presence of Fisher on the map. In terms of looking at details, the other notable thing is that despite Apollo having a good amount of lane pressure for most of the game, the player damage from Venom was just that much higher. In the end, having over 7,000 more damage. I say the big thing there is that Kennesaw State had a very solid start to that game, getting a lot of the middle neutral camps, as well as getting some very early invades. However, it was just too much for them to keep up with. When it was translating into the mid and late game, they got picked off on a few of their invades, particularly one red buff invade went very poorly for them. And that kept Madison in the game, and when it got to teamfights, they were just able to beat out Kennesaw State on those objectives with just a ton of pressure from all sides. The dive comp of the Guan Yu and Nemesis also cannot be underestimated, and the big player healing coming through from both of them, healing a total of 8,000 combined, not even noticing Nuwa's Soul Gem procs, versus the 0 sustain of the Kennesaw State side. So, we should be getting into a next game shortly. It looks like the match lobby has already been started up, so we shall try and get in to spectate this one. And a lot of the picks have already happened. It looks like the first bans were a Ganesh, Moja, and Giannis from Kennesaw State side, with Scylla, Guan, and Kukulane banned out from UW Madison. That resulted in the first pick of Danzaburu for Kennesaw State, prioritizing this new god. I've known that some ADCs have some mixed feelings about Danzaburu right now. He's obviously a very strong god, However, compared to some of the other picks of the time that are so powerful or so potent, um, it's questionable. Oh, sorry, it was a first ban on set. However, they let the Nem through actually onto Fishay and the Nuwa. Right now, the first top three are the same for UW Madison actually. Um, and then Wukong being picked up instead of Guan Yu. This is looking like a very similar comp for UW Madison. Um, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's going to be in Kennesaw State's ballpark to figure out a response. It appears that they were not as worried about the picks of Madison as much as just wanting to have a chance of beating that team fight play. Um, we see that the Hunbots might be picked up here, getting hovered. The Hunbots has a much more dominating ult than Ratatoskr in teamfights, being able to really disrupt the fight by forcing out either beads. However, it is instead switched to Robin, who has a much more dive-focused bruiser type of build that he normally likes going for. Um, and it looks like it's also either a Cronus or Danza Brewing mid. Um, having an ADC mid is doable, but a little unconventional, as it does give way to having things like Upgraded Shell be very viable on the opponent's team. We see Sylvanas being hovered as a last pick for UW Madison. However, we shall see. It is locked as a Sylv. UW Madison working with a fairly similar comp as last time, having a ton of healing in their favor with Cupid and Sylvanas. Um, And Kennesaw State has switched up their comp significantly. One pick I have yet to talk about is the Sobek. Sobek has a very strong pluck that allows him to be able to get either force beads or pick kills on a lot of UW Madison's team, as well as having Lurking in the Waters to apply a lot of damage. Um, the one glaring thing in Kennesaw State's team is they do not have a solid objective secure. However, it shouldn't be that big of an issue in this game because neither does UW-Madison with only having Nuaz um, too. So that makes me think that we won't see a lot of objectives being taken until we actually see the two teams fight it out. Because unfortunately, neither side has a surefire way of securing it, and it will just end up being a coin flip. Um, we are into the 3-minute wait period now. Some individual matchups to focus on is, first of all, we will see if it's a Danzabrew or a Kronos coming out in the mid. Either, I believe, is viable. However, I feel like it's going to be a Danzabrew mid, actually. We will see if I am correct about that. Ravin in the jungle versus Nemesis. Ravin is a powerful jungler, being able to gain damage mitigation off his ult and just being a menace as a bruiser that's hard to kill. However, as we saw from Fishay last time, Nemesis is a huge threat right now, being able to get in there with some crit and being able to slice through them with both her ability Slice and Dice and auto attacks. Not to mention that her ult allows her to really focus on that single target damage by stealing some of the enemy's protections away. In that sense, having that Bruiser Robin might actually work against them. It's in a 1v1 Nemesis will a lot of times be able to come out on top. However, King Arthur into Sun Wukong is a pretty easy matchup, and as for the mid lane, if it is in fact a Danza Brew mid lane, Danza will have a much better clear than Nuwa coming into this game at level 1, so they should be able to get some pressure on the Nuwa Nemesis. Sobek again will be trying to look for a lot of the initiation for Kennesaw State's side team. However, UW-Madison Cardinal does have Sylvanas, who is very powerful as an engaged tool with both Blink and Ult, being able to either force beads, or if the opposing team is not able to react quick enough, getting huge knockups. And that in combination with Cupid Ult and the damage from Nemesis and Nuwa can be very dangerous. Sun Wukong also being a great character to just get in the opponent's face and not care, being very safe with both his ult, the Somersault Cloud, and his 72 transformations, making it a very frightening matchup to go into. However, King Arthur is also notorious for the same thing, but notably, King Arthur is into a Cupid, which, with half of King Arthur's kit being dependent on dashes, Cupid's Cripple Field can very effectively shut down a diving King Arthur. So, He might struggle to try and dive this backline Cupid as effectively as the Sun Wukong and Nemesis can go after. And we see we are getting into the game here. Um, and yeah, it should be interesting. With this time, Kennesaw State will be the blue team, and Cardinal will be red team. And it looks like everyone is almost loaded in. Collision once again being the last to load in here. But once we see that in a few seconds, we should be able to get right on into the game. I'm expecting to see pretty similar builds from the side of UW Madison. Yeah, Hero's Axe coming out again. Interesting, Eye of the Jungle on the Chronos here picked up. Eye of the Jungle is an interesting item that gives you protections when you are in the jungle and allows you to deal, or it gives you protections and allows you to deal a little bit more damage to jungle monsters, as well as giving vision when you clear a camp. That makes me suspicious of the possibility of, or exactly what role Cronus is looking to play. It looks like he will be mid. I guess the thought process is the protections and power from Eye of the Jungle are very nice, as well as getting wards on both the two mid camps and clearing them, as well as just clearing them ever so slightly faster. It is a Danza ADC as well here, going the Leather Power Berserker build that we saw last time, Cupid going the same Gilded Arrow Berserker build. Yeah, no, Protector of the Jungle gives it, not Eyes. Sorry, I forgot the starter item's exact stats. I don't see it too often. That was my mistake. But, yeah, we see Bumba's Spear coming out from both of the junglers, probably going into Bumba's Hammer on both of them, and then Conduit Gem again on the Nuwa, and then pretty standard with the Sentinel's Gift. Gator opting to go with only Tier 1 boots in favor of more pots. The clear from Danza being very fast there. Cronus looks like he's going to get the lane slightly earlier than Nuwa here. However, without having his 3 and only having his 1 as clear, Cronus does not hard out clear Nuwa, so it's still going to be very even. It looks like blue team's duo side got there slightly faster, being able to get it. However, Cupid has gone over to level 2 already, with both Danza and Cupid taking over to level 2. Kennesaw State being able to get that mid camp once again first. It looks like Nuwa and Nemesis are going for these right sides, after Chronos was able to solo the left side mids and get the ward down there. Right now, again, lane pressure looks slightly in favor of Kennesaw State, but it is very much too early to tell anything. The Sun Wukong and King Arthur boxing. Sun Wukong forced to beast. King Arthur has a lot of pressure here, pushing Sun Wukong all the way back into tower line, already having a full level lead. King Arthur does have very strong early clear with being able to ability spam. Oh, there looks like there's going to be an early gank over here, though, by the Robin. Robin blinks in, roots Silv being forced to back off, Cupid dashed out. However, nothing is gained. Sobek, in fact, being stunned and put very low. That's very bad for the Robin being forced back, as now Nemesis, having seen that, is able to invade back camps for completely free and gets XP lead, which will be needed to alleviate this solo advantage that is currently held by the King Arthur. Chronos looking to see if he can contest, but not able to do anything, and both back camps go the way of UW Madison. That is the danger as the jungler of going for those early ganks, although it can be incredibly powerful to get that early kill. At the end of the day, if you end up giving up camps and aren't able to pick up that kill, that puts you at a huge disadvantage, with Nemesis coming out ahead in terms of farm. I see the highlighted message of Nemesis skin diff, TBH, might as well S6. To be honest, I kind of have to agree. I believe that skin is called, which skin exactly is this? This is like the Red Mercenary skin. I don't remember the exact name, to be honest, but it is one of the better skins in my opinion. We see with that note aside, we see a purple buff invade coming from Kennesaw State. Cupid and Sil too low to try and contest, Sobek picking it up, and that is another purple buff invade going the way of Kennesaw State. The same thing happened last game with the first purple buff going the way of Kennesaw, and they were able to get this early pressure. However, UW Cardinal was able to pull it back that game pretty handily. We'll see if it's a similar story here, or if the level lead that's emerging in duo and in other lanes from just this camp pressure is able to be translated better into the mid game. Um, yeah. Right now as well, the solo lane is still um actually, as a matter of fact, Sun Wukong was able to get a level lead on King Arthur apparently when we were looking at the um other camps here, being able to catch back up. And now that Sun Wukong has that Somersault Cloud online, he will be much safer. However, many neutral objectives are still going the way of Kennesaw State, even if that lane is more even now, with Oracles going the way of Robin, as well as that mid camp likely being under pressure to be taken from the duo lane once more. Um, Thus far, outside the one purple buff invade, we have yet to see any major invade come through. We might see a play on a red buff sometime soon. We saw that last game Kennesaw State tried to get a lot of pressure through those red buffs invades, and we can see that Cardinal has already warded for it with a sentry. Um, However, likely we won't see too much action until the first blood coming out. Raven and Kronos lurking quite deep, trying to check and get a red timer here. They might try and take this red as soon as it comes up, actually. However, Kronos doesn't know that he's sitting right now. Wait, no, that's a Kronos ward, not a Nuwa ward. Did they counter set? I just read the wrong ward color, my bad. Yeah, they were already prepped for that invade. However, Nuwa has also placed a ward there. We'll see if it gets cleared out, and they were going for red buff, with Sylvanas rotating over, each side just taking their own red buff, and leaving their ADC spots out. Back in solo lane, we see that Sun Wukong is still getting a little out-pressured by King Arthur with the strong ability spam, as well as the ability to cripple Sun Wukong out of his dash, being quite potent. We see a mid-fight breaking out, though. Sov being caught out, stunned by Kronos. Blink Pluck from the Sobek, hitting its mark. Kronos swinging. However, Sov might be able to get out from that. It's very close. Kronos able to pick it up with his wand, the Time Rift, and First Blood goes the way of Kennesaw State. We see Nemesis moving in, though, however, maybe looking for something. However, the ward vision from Kennesaw State allows them to see this coming, and now Nemesis is in a bit of a dicey position. However, it looks like Kennesaw State is just looking to get the camps and not push that too far. That first blood from Kennesaw State will give them a good amount of bonus gold and give them some good pressure moving forward. However, it was only on the support here, so him being that extra level under-leveled isn't terrible. However, he has yet to get his ultimate up, which is unfortunate. And will mean that with the Sobek having a 2-level lead, the Sobek has a lot more engaged pressure. However, there's a fight happening over here. Danza and Cupid, or Nemesis rotating over. Sorry, I missed that. Oh my goodness. Cupid ulting down onto Danza Brew, being able to lock him down with Fisha rotating over on the Nemesis pick to get a return kill in the favor of UW Madison. Despite there being a gold lead in favor of Kennesaw State, those kills are now evened up. However, it looks like the blue team is looking at this left side Greater Scorpion right now, going to try and claim it, while right now Cardinal is just cleaning up their back camps. Sun Wukong and King Arthur right now are in a pretty stable state in terms of just boxing. We see that Scorpion go down. Sun Wukong is put to very low health, though. King Arthur showing why he's such a dominant presence even still, forcing Sun Wukong's ult out. With that ult down, we might see a gank from the Raven coming sometime soon. However, also important to note is that right now Oracles and Oracles have gone the way. Oh, we seem to have a pause right now. It seems that the Venom has DC'd here, unfortunately. And yeah, so right now in this pause, Gold Fury's coming up soon with Oracles taken by Kennesaw State. Kills are very even, though. Gold is only 700 down for Cardinal, so this should be a pretty even Gold Fury fight. However, we see that Kennesaw State is already positioning for it. Depending on if Venom cancels his back here, we also see that Madison Cardinal is ready to take this fight, with their positioning being very similar. Yeah. These first kills on Kennesaw State have been very clean. However, they have not been able to translate it into too much of an advantage yet, with Danza being too pushed up and getting caught out for that lack of vision on that AEC side. So that is one of the disadvantages of Danza Brew. Um, with your 3 into Cupid as an escape, it's really not that quick of a movement ability to get out, and if you're forced to ult out, that can be body blocked pretty easily versus a Cupid dash going off instantly. So he was able to get picked off, whereas gods such as Apollo could just ult out for completely free there. Cupid and Danzaburoo boxing here, the mid laners and support coupling returning to that mid lane. Danza has a full level lead on the Cupid right now. It looks like Nemesis is going to look to get this Greater Scorpion. However, Raven is there and where. Sun Wukong's ult still down. It looks like the play on Sun Wukong is there. The dunk coming down from Raven isn't enough. Nemesis is there to respond, put King Arthur down to just above half, with Sun Wukong just under. And nothing is to come from it. That was both that was both Raven, Blink, and ult there to try and get that Sun Wukong, and nothing was gotten off of it, unfortunately. So that forces them, both King Arthur and Raven, to back. Kronos pathing here, trying to, I don't know if he knows he's standing on a ward here, trying to see if he can get Nuwa to push out. However, right now it's a very neutral position. We see Kennesaw State pinging out Cupid, pushing up pretty far here, getting the purple buff invade without getting contested right now. In mid lane, simultaneously, we see there's a large grouping here. And it looks like Kennesaw State is starting up gold. They have to know that the ward's there, so they are trying to bait a fight. Right now, Nuwa forced to beads onto the Kronos. Kronos has put in his rewind. Nuwa ult comes out. Sobek, Blink Pluck, Nemesis. Nemesis beads down. That's most of the relics from UW Madison's carry side. And Venom, there was a trade in duo while that was happening, apparently, with Cupid and Danza Brew trading out, actually. I'm actually going to rewind real quick to see what happened there. Because I'm curious of how that happened. I don't know if it was a tower dive from Danza Brew or what, but that, again, keeps kills even. It looks like the rocket chases him into tower, and it was just a fight under tower that went the way of the Danza Brew, but he was not able to get out alive, putting them both down and preventing the opportunity for a Gold Fury, while mid resulted in no deaths. Right now, King Arthur is still getting pressure with that Totem of Ku and trying to force up. Nemesis once again looking to start up this right side Greater Scorpion, this time without Raven being right there to be able to contest, with actually most of Kennesaw State backing. It looks like Nemesis will get this Greater Scorpion for free. Unfortunately, it appears like when I did the rewind, the health bars got toggled off on the spectator. I'm not entirely confident on how I can fix that. Even from hovering over them, I'm not able to see that. I'll keep spectating like this for the moment, but if anyone in chat knows how I can resolve that, or if I just need to exit out here, that would be great. Otherwise, I can try and look it up in a down moment. But maybe I just need to be caught up in real time, actually. Okay, now we're back into real time here. It looks like a Gold Fury fight starting up in favor. That didn't fix the health bars, unfortunately. Gold Fury fight going towards Kennesaw State. However, we see them going in. Blue team gets the kill, so that's Kennesaw being able to secure the Gold Fury here. Big fight breaking out. Sun Wukong going in on the Sobek. Sorry, it's very hard to keep track of what's happening. Cupid trying to run, getting stunned out by King Arthur, having to flee from Kronos King Arthur. So far, we're making it out alive. However, there was a triple kill on the carries of, and there goes Cupid as well. Huge amounts of. Okay, I have to restart it. I might as well just restart the spectator here, and then we can rewatch that scene there. That's unfortunate. Sorry about that. I wasn't aware that rewinding there could cause that to happen. That is my mistake. I am still relatively new to this casting thing, as may be evident. Um, but yeah, we'll go back and we will see that fight once again and break it down a bit. Unfortunately, it might result in post-game interviews if this next game, if Cardinal does win this, the post-game interviews will be a little offset. However, it should be fine in the long run. You know, low res, as much as I love this game, low res does still have its issues. Rather unfortunate that we have to deal with that. However, we should be able to get right back into the action pretty fast. It's just going on 16 times speed. Hopefully speeding this up won't cause health bars to fade once more. But yeah, we shall see. Um, but yeah, just off of what we saw from that, I don't know why it reset there. Just off of what we saw from that last fight, it looked like Kennesaw State was in a very commanding position moving forward, and I'm hoping we'll get a better view. I don't know why it's canceling the fast forward. Okay. There you go. There are the pauses once more. I believe, if I remember the timing, it was around, like, 13 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. Past 10 minutes, so we should be getting somewhat close soon. There's the Cupid Danza trade, actually, so it should be coming up any second now. Alright, and this is pretty much where we left off. Okay, sorry about those technical difficulties. Now we are back in it. I'll speed up a little bit to get to that fight, just so we're close up to live time, but, while they're just clearing buffs and stuff. But yeah, so sorry about that. Not fully comfortable with working this spectator format quite yet, but, I digress. Here it looks like, Cardinal was creeping up for this Gold Fury. They are able to take Oracles early. However, Kennesaw State responds with the three-man grouping from the Dansburu, Raven, and Sobek pushing back. King Arthur going on Nemesis, blinking on Nemesis, getting the knockup into King Arthur ult. Nemesis being targeted down to half health. Sylvanas being plucked away from her aid, with Dansburu and Raven trailing behind right now. The fight. Although Kennesaw State did not get much off of that quite yet, they did get a good amount of damage on the Nemesis, forcing her to back off a bit, and allowing them to look to start up this Gold Fury here. And here is, the Gold Fury call starts, and even though Dansburu isn't there, one of the advantages of having Chronos as a mid is that you do get that, burn. King Arthur zoning out Cupid, knocks up with the stun, Cupid forced to dash out and ult. Nemesis dashing in, however, blue team does secure it. Nemesis now very deep, looking after the Raven and Sobek, seeing if they can get a kill. Double kill, or Chronos getting a huge time rift, putting all of them low, getting cleaned up by Raven there. Sun Kong was killed, and now Cupid's on the run. That happened so quickly. A huge CC chain from Kennesaw State into a Chronos time rift was able to take away most of the health of UW Madison, and resulted in a very rapid triple kill. Sun Kong making it out alive. It looks like he was looking at going on the Cronus, but thought better of it here, instead of just trying to box him out and stay present for a potential FG call. However, in the time that is taken, most of Cardinal's team respawned. Despite them not getting any additional objective off it, actually cancel that. They're going to be able to get Cairo here. But despite that fight going heavily in favor of Kennesaw State, there was not enough health left to be a Fire Giant call afterwards. However, we do see a large advantage growing in this game, mainly a 3,000 or 3,500 gold lead, as well as a decent sized level lead in pretty much every single lane at this point, with the most sizable being in mid and ADC of a 2-level gap. It's very hard. This sort of level disadvantage is very hard to fight into for UW Cardinal, and we'll see how they adjust to try and catch up after losing the first 2 objectives off that one fight. They do go for a Greater Scorpion Invade here. Um, Nuwa ult comes out. However, Danzaburu manages to solo the Cupid. Again, I would love to rewind to see that. However, Kronos might be getting caught out for it. Looking at Syl, Nemesis is behind, though. Looks to go on Kronos. Shields that, forces out the rewind. Syl ended, Nemesis waiting for it, but Sobek comes over in time to prevent anything from happening. Right now, UW Madison Cardinal is under a lot of pressure, with Danzaburu being allowed to push that left tower for free while mid is being pressured out. It looks like Nuwa and Nemesis are going to rotate over to try and stop that from happening. Sobek looking for the pluck on Nemesis, but not quite making the mark, with King Arthur pressuring Sun Wukong right now. However, Nemesis put in the air by King Arthur. That might be a dead Nemesis. Double Dash comes out. Sobek misses the pluck. However, the 3 is able to secure the kill. Now, again, Cupid just coming up is still a 4v5 in favor of Kennesaw State here. And Kennesaw State not trying to dive tier 2 quite yet, instead looking to siege the mid tier 2 and catch the Sun Wukong that's off, knowing that Cardinal is still there. Late feeds from the Sun Wukong after the Sobek pluck there. And luckily he does manage to live, and Madison is close to having Nemesis back up, so it will again be a 5v5 if they can stay alive for that long. Sobek right now walling out Cupid very effectively, as well as Sylvanas just keeping that pressure online, and Danza backing. Kennesaw State has decided that they did not gain enough pressure off of those kills to quite go for any objectives yet. However, they're only furthering the gold gap that they have on UW Cardinal, and likely they will be in a very good position going into the upcoming Fire Giant fight here, being able to clean out most of Cardinal's back jungle, and now being able to go back and get the XP from their own. With Nemesis even being forced to just go for the mid camps as purple. Nemesis ult onto Danza, dashes on Danza, Danza ult down, however Cupid ult, there's Danza, Aegis, Nemesis on him, trying to auto-attack, however Danza able to do enough damage to kill Fisha on the Nemesis, and there was no kill coming through for Cardinal. Kronos with the rotation over, huge stun into 1, and that's a 2-for-0 in favor of Kennesaw State on attempted gank by Cardinal. Again, that might even be able to set up into a Fire Giant call here with some of the damage dealers Cardinal down, or at the very least it fully establishes ward vision of that right side of the map in Kennesaw State's favor. So we see all 5 of them grouping up now on this fire, and the Fire Giant call is indeed made with King Arthur here zoning, with Kronos and Danzaburu both bursting, and it doesn't seem like UW Cardinal either knows or cares to contest it, and the first Fire Giant will go the way of Kennesaw State. Cardinal isn't really in a great place to defend here, and we see Kennesaw cleaning out those 3 towers. Cardinal going to try and trade out this Primal Fury with only Sun Wukong defending the tier 2, being okay with sacrificing that tier 2 for the Primal Fury, and perhaps sending Cupid and Nemesis to try and trade out some towers on the left side, while sending Nuwa and Sylvanas back to defend this Phoenix. So it's going to be a 5v3 Phoenix siege here. We see the pluck on the Sun Wukong forced into his somersault cloud pretty early. He jumps down without getting much regen. And we see that they're on Phoenix right now. Nemesis and Cupid backing. Cupid ult comes down, gets the kill on the King Arthur. Nuwa forced into air. Sobek catches her with Lurking in the Waters on the end. Danza gets hit by the Nemesis ult. Gets dived by the Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong does not have an escape mechanism, but trades out for the Danzaburu. Nemesis left on a sliver of health with Kronos chasing down, trying to get out. In the back line, Collision isn't able to pick up a kill on Robin and gets picked. Robin blinking in on Cupid, gets the root, knock up, and there goes down Venom. And with that, that was a 2-for-3 trade, as well as the Phoenix going down for Kennesaw State. Although that looks really terrible for Cardinal, at the same time they were able to strip the Danzaburu of the Fire Giant. So it is not going to be able to have an end call yet, but again, having that magical Kronos from the mid, being able to shred these towers, means that with this remaining Fire Giant buff on the 3 members, Sobek, Robin, and Kronos are going to be able to clean up these tier 2s and continue getting pressure. We see almost a 10k gold lead forming here, with Kennesaw State at a huge point advantage. Levels as well are incredibly favoring Kennesaw State, with particularly their mid laner as well as their jungler and ADC approaching that nice level 20 mark to get those second relics online. The entirety of Madison's back camps are being cleared out as well, meaning that they aren't able to get that much XP to catch up. Right now, it looks like they are contented with getting the tier 2s. Kennesaw is going to regroup, possibly looking for a Pyromancer or some small objective, or possibly just looking to see if they can push up right lane and then go for a siege on either mid or left Phoenix here. However, either way, this is going to be a very hard game to come back from Cardinal side, being down a very substantial amount. However, we still do see signs of life, as in that Fire Giant fight, they were able to trade 2 for 3. But Kennesaw State has obviously made some adjustments from the last game and have transitioned into this mid game much nicer than they did in that first set. And they do look to get the Pyro, the last neutral objective on the map right now, just to get that little bit of extra gold in their favor, while Madison are put into a very nasty position of having to sit back in base or risk getting picked. We see Robin pushing up that right lane. The Kennesaw State still does have Fire Giant, but it will be falling off pretty soon. Probably before they are able to get this next Phoenix Siege. And there's a pick on the Kronos on the Nemesis in left lane, while the rest of Kennesaw was grouped in mid. That's huge for Kennesaw State, as now with a numbers advantage, they can look to try and push into this mid-tier 2, possibly while they still do have that Fire Giant on them. That is incredibly detrimental for Madison's defense, as Nemesis ult gave them a huge opportunity to burst the target of their choice down. However, it doesn't seem like Kennesaw State wishes to push here, instead wanting to back and finish off some of their items, with Kronos hitting 20 and and most of the last item slots still not being full. Kennesaw State trying to push this gold lead and level advantage for as long as they can right now. And as later into the game, it will start to matter less and less. They're trying to get these items online to try and really put a dent and go for an end call. However, in the meantime, UW Madison Cardinal's right Phoenix is about to respawn. FG is also going to be up. We see that Kennesaw State has decided to make the call to wait for Fire Giant to respawn and go for the fight there before trying to push any further. The gold lead is up to 12k. Past this, with most of the final items for Kennesaw State being finished out right now, it won't be too significant, as well as with the level lead hitting 20. Things can only go uphill for Madison, but this next fight is going to be a doozy for sure, and they will have to likely give up this Fire Giant without contesting, as they can't risk either any of them getting picked or their Phoenix just being taken for free. It looks like that's exactly what will happen. Nemesis trying to get some pressure on that left side tier 1 while this is happening, and get farm while the entirety of Kennesaw State's on right side. However, now, with that Fire Giant, Kennesaw State is going to be pushing, looking once again at that right side Phoenix. We see Nemesis backing, and right now it's a 4-man defense. Sobek immediately going in starts taking aggro of the tower, and the Phoenix immediately falls with no sort of resistance from the UW Madison Cardinal. Instead, they wish to try and defend the mid and left Phoenix here, and try and take their fight when all 5 of them are there. And we will see how much of a defense they'll be able to put up, with all ults and all relics on both sides being up. However, notably, there's 4 level leads for ADC, jungle, or 3 level lead for ADC, a 4 level lead for jungle, and a 3 level lead for mid. Here, going to make it very hard to fight. So, blinks in, ults, only finds Kronos, unfortunately. Nemesis gets dived by King Arthur. King Arthur stunned. Cupid throws ults down. Sobek in there. Unfortunately, not anything found, and Dansbrew and Kronos able to lane and get that mid-Phoenix. Cupid gets clocked out by the Sobek. Beautiful play. into Danzaburu's rocket. Now, Kronos and Danzaburu laying into UW Cardinal. Triple kill from the Danzaburu. Rossetti going insane here. Kronos trying to keep Nuwa walled into Fountain here. With Sobek now taking his role while the ADCs are laying into that Titan. This is going to be a Game 3 coming up with a deicide in favor of Kennesaw State. This is Game 2. Game 1 was won by UW Cardinal, so now we're going to be seeing a Game 3 coming up here. With the teams going 1-1. We talked last game about how there was a jungle difference in favor of the Nemesis going insane. However, this game we see that no, again, don't know how to pronounce the name. I apologize if I'm slaughtering it, but Notes made the necessary adjustment and got back into it, whereas Fish was not able to put up the same performance as last game. I was at first a little skeptical about the Kronos mid, but it went off this game, being able to go 6-0 and 10 with large amounts of damage. The Raven's player damage was still lacking, but he was able to actually get in and pick up kills this time. And yeah, that's going to be, as chat says, blue wins. It do be a side diff right now. Because of that mistake I made earlier, we should be able to get right into this next game. But that is if I'm not mistaken, that is the first game of this entire Invitational that UW Madison Cardinal has dropped. So this is the first time that we will see them playing from the defensive without momentum and see how they will adjust. They tried to work with the same picks as they had in their first game, where they had success with the new Cupid and Nemesis all being there. And yet they were not able to find the same level of team fighting prowess, not being able to dive onto the Kronos with that very safe rewind, and with Danzaburu having a large amount of presence with his ult, and Sobek being able to pluck a lot of priority targets. However, we do see this game. Okay, sorry. We'll have 3 minutes, so I'll break it down a little bit slower. But immediately looking from the top bands from Order. Oh, did they drop a game to RIT? I did not observe that game, so no worries. But yeah. So second game they dropped then. I was mistaken. But they still have yet to drop a set, and they're looking to keep that win streak alive here. Looking at the bans from Madison, we see the Fenrir, Kronos, and Sobek coming out as top bans. I think this makes a lot of sense. The Kronos and Sobek were definitely the driving forces of the success of Kennesaw last game, and they decided they'd rather go against meta picks than deal with that Kronos with that very effective rewind, as well as that Sobek with those plucks. We see Set Guan Yu and Danzaburu banned out by Kennesaw State, very similar to their first bans. However, this time they let the Cuckoo lane go to UW Cardinal. And again, I know this is a pick that UW Cardinal has prioritized a lot getting and believe is very potent. So we'll see if they are able to live up to it. It looks like it's actually going to be the Cuckoo lane jungle. I know Fichet has been working on this one a little bit, and Freedom is put on the Bologna here. However, in response, Nemesis does go the way of Notes this time, and Rossetti is able to pick up the Cupid, picking up 2 of the picks that Cardinal has been taking, as well as getting the Giannis on their side. Collision decides he wants to stick with the Nuwa, and then Yamoja being picked up as a 3rd pick as well. Those top 3 all being very meta. And then we see Apollo also getting picked up, not getting banned out, with bans being focused more on junglers without Kennesaw State realizing that it was in fact a Cuckoo lane jungle coming through. And we see the Kepri and Cthulhu banned out from UW Cardinal, with being afraid of those abilities to keep and heal for those carries very hard. This is the first game that we will be seeing Venom on Apollo today. I do know this is one of his preferred picks right now, as that ult gives such good presence. And then Rerum on the Bologna is also one of Rerum's signature picks, with Mannequin Scepter being able to go do a lot of damage. Last picks for Kennesaw State are the King Arthur on Workdad. Last game on this King Arthur, Workdad was able to do a lot, being able to get pressure against the Sun Wukong early, as well as being able to dive and the Nemesis pretty effectively and get off a lot of damage. And then we see the Jing Qian offering a very large controlling ult with a similar function to a Sobek pluck to get picks on the members of Madison. However, we will see how effective this will be in comparison to Sobek, as that ult is up much less frequently. Going into this next match, I am going to quickly grab a little bit of water for my throat, and yeah, within the next minute, we shall be getting into it. Notably, I have returned. Notably, the first two games, we saw that Kennesaw State was able to get early pressure in most of the lanes. So I'm wondering if we're going to see Cardinal try and make that adjustment and try and win those early interactions to try and get that pressure on their side and play a different style of match. Alternatively, they might again try and Kukulane is able to do that very effectively with large amounts of damage and being very unkillable in his rage form. Alternatively, they might again try and wait for those teamfight stage when Bologna and Kukulane can dive very effectively, with Umoja peeling for Nuwa and Apollo in the back. As a whole, Cardinal's comp works very well as a dive comp, with Apollo being able to ult in, Bologna jump in, Kukulane getting in there, and then Nuwa being able to clean up with her ult. Whereas Kennesaw will have to play a little more defensive, waiting for that Jing Qian to engage and that King Arthur to get in there before they can get the follow-up from their ADCs. And here is Game 3, the match and set decider here. UW Cardinal versus Kennesaw State. And we're about to get right into it. And we will once again see, thus far the trend has been those on the blue side have been winning. We will see if this pattern is upheld or Kennesaw will be able to claim this win here. What I'm interested to see here is first relics picked up. Jing Qian very much encourages beads. However, on gods like Bologna, you wouldn't really want to have that pickup, where something more aggressive like Blink can be very useful. However, we do see Umoja going the ways of beads, trying not to get picked out. We see Death Toll on Apollo and Bologna actually picked up, and Ives Jungle picked up by Kukulane here. I know the Kukulane Jungle is something that UW Cardinal's been working on a bit, so I'm very interested to see it in action. We see Sands of Time on the Giannis, as well as the Ives Jungle on the Nemesis on the opposing side, and then the Leather Cowl Glad Shield or Berserker Shield start from the opposing Cupid here. So, very interested to see how this one will go here. Kennesaw isn't even a real state. This is easy. I mean, you're not wrong. When I saw the match name, I had to look up where Kennesaw State was. But, I mean, here they are. They obviously are quite the team in being able to put on a very strong performance. So, we will see if Cardinal makes the adjustments here and can come back in this third match. It looks once again to be a pretty even clear, maybe Nuwa a little bit ahead. Both Nuwa and Giannis have a relatively rough level 1 clear, so it should be fairly even on that count. We see that Cardinal looks like they will get to lane slightly ahead of Kennesaw, and a lot of damage on the Cupid early. Apollo hits 2, dashes in, looks for this early pressure on Cupid. Big Umoja stun, forcing out Cupid beads already, and like we were talking about earlier, although pressure went the way of Kennesaw State last time, Cardinal has already made the adjustment, coming out swinging. Apollo dashes in again, gets heart bombed by Cupid here, goes down to the heart bomb. Unfortunately, the Jing Qian hit level 2 here, and now Umoja's looking to be in some sort of trouble, with Gator having to run. Unfortunately, the aggression from the Apollo didn't quite work out in the favor of Cardinal here, with that dash in being just a little too much and losing that early advantage that he had gained versus the Cupid. However, we see that UW Cardinal is here to play. Cuculain transforms into Rage, pushing Nemesis back as well. With this mid-fight right now favoring Kennesaw. Big double stun from Niwa, though, coming out. With both sides looking at about half health. If we go over to the solo side, right now, Rerum is out trading the King Arthur pretty hard. King Arthur, until all his abilities come online, um, can be very easily out-traded. However, it still is not an unwinnable matchup by any means. We see that now that Apollo has returned to lane, both him and Yemoja are leveled down to the Cupid Jingxian, meaning they have to play very safe coming up here, especially in regards to the fact that both Cupid and Jingxian at this rate will hit their ults first. Nemesis and Giannis came out of the mid-trade ahead, being able to grab both the left side XP camps as well as the oracles, being able to gain a level lead. And once again, we see that Kennesaw State's swinging. However, Yemoja is able to hit a stun into damage from Apollo, and this Cupid is still very low. We might see a rotation over by the Cuculain to try and get pressure here. And luckily for Cardinal, right now their saving grace is that the solo lane is going in the favor of Rerum, with Bellona being able to beat out this King Arthur. And we have yet to see any pressure towards any of the buffs in terms of an invade, with only the first blood thus far going to Kennesaw State. So this, although is sub-ideal for Cardinal, is still a very even game. The main thing to watch for is when this Cupid and Jingxian take over to 5, whether Kennesaw will try and make any plays there, as that might be when we see a large swing happening. Big bounce by the Cupid. We see Apollo dash in again, forcing Cupid dash out. This time it traded out better, with the Niwa ult coming through, looking for that assist, Flash picking up the kill. We see over here Cuculain pressuring out the Giannis, being very aggressive. Nemesis, however, is nearby and just ticked over to ult, so we might see a Nemesis ult coming out on the Cuculain. We do. Dropped in the portal. Nemesis holding Slice and Dice right now. Gets stunned off, though, by Niwa, and Cuculain will be able to barely make it out alive. Fische trying to play a bit risky, trying to get that kill. But, oh, look at that! The Cupid did stay out too long and bit off more than he could chew. Venom and, Gator were able to somehow pick up that kill despite being at that deficit early on and losing that first blood. They're still coming out swinging, and now without Cupid being up, that level 5 lead that I was talking about that could be expanded by play from Cupid and Jingxian is no longer possible. Just like that, the match is once again dead even with the duo lane for Cardinal being able to present a lot of pressure. Right now, mid and jungle are still in favor of Kennesaw State, with especially jungle having a 2-level lead over Fische with the Nemesis. That's especially scary, especially now that the Nemesis has Golden Blade online, being able to clear camps very quickly. However, in solo lane, we do see the Bellona able to continue trying to pressure out this Arthur. No level lead emerging quite yet. We see Nemesis over here looking to make a play on the Apollo, though. It doesn't seem like Venom is aware of it. However, Apollo ult is now online, so he's very safe. Nemesis will be able to get the purple buff, though, with the Golden Blade, without anyone being the wiser. Unfortunately, that is the danger of this Nemesis being ahead, just being able to go and clear camps for free. However, she may have bitten off a bit more than she can chew here. However, no, it's Yemoja that's getting turned on, had to Riptide into tower. Giannis a little off the mark, not able to hit the damage it was looking for. It looks like, though, at the same time, Bellona and Cuculain tried to make a play on King Arthur, weren't able to pick up the kill, and now are in an incredibly rough position, with Nemesis blinking and Slice and Dice picks up Fische for the second kill for Kennesaw State. We see beads come out from the Bellona, Nemesis chasing her down, goes into tower, however, not quite able to make the dive yet. They're still looking to get it, though. Jingxian goes through, Giannis portal through, and with that, they were able to pick the kill. However, most of our team got relatively low from that and are forced to back here. Unfortunately, we see that 1,000 gold lead now, rather not unfortunately, we see 1,000 lead now, gold lead now, in Kennesaw State's favor. And right now, with the kill scores being 1-3, Kennesaw is most definitely in the lead and should be looking to convert their kills into some pressure on the Scorpions soon. That kill on Rearm was especially big as that man had been thus far able to control solo lane very effectively. So being able to alleviate that pressure and put King Arthur back into it, and even give him a level up on the Bologna, will be very, very beneficial for Kennesaw State moving forward. Um, However, this is by no means um, a huge advantage. Cardinal can very easily fight back from this deficit. However, it is a deficit that they do need to be wary of here. Nemesis going in has to double dash out. Um, it looks like they Jingxian is looking for the Apollo here. Apollo going after Cupid. Cupid ults. Jingxian jumps off the purple, and with Cupid ult going down, they go back to the purple buff here. Yamoja is here to try and contest it. Not quite able to get the steal, it looks like. And Cupid gets stunned out. There's the Yamoja ult down. Cupid does not have his ult. Jingxian ult placed. Yamoja ult does ton damage. Gator over here essentially soloing the Cupid with the Jingxian walling out Apollo. Oh no, we see a solo kill coming out from the King Arthur on the Bologna. As I said, that lead was so important to get back. And unfortunately, in there, on that kill on the Cupid, Venom had to trade out his life, making it just a 1-for-1. So, again, Madison in a very rough position. They were trying to be a bit more aggressive here, but they have not been able to press any advantage yet, and that solo kill on Realm's Bologna is very detrimental, as it means that King Arthur will be getting up and ahead, being a lot more menacing in mid-game teamfights, and a lot harder to rotate with. And again, we see a lot of neutral objectives, or neutral camps being able to go the way of Kennesaw State from this early lead. And we will likely soon see an attempt on the Scorpions by them. The With a level lead expanding in pretty much every single lane, especially in duo right now, or rather duo being the furthest ahead. Or not, what am I saying? Sorry, solo lane being the furthest ahead. Sorry, it's into a 3-game set and I'm getting a little tired messing up. It's going to be very hard to fight against with a 1-level lead in pretty much every lane. Red buff was secured by Cardinal before they got there. However, Venom gets soloed by the Cupid. Cupid ult forced to go down for that, but the Apollo was locked down. As I was saying earlier in the first match, Cupid into Apollo is rather rough for Apollo, as Cupid can toss down ult and force out either Apollo beads or lay into him when Apollo tries to return ult. And with the solo kill in both duo and solo lane, that looks very promising for Kennesaw State in terms of closing out this third game. Gator manages to secure that, or no, the purple left does fall in favor of Kennesaw here, and King Arthur is still pressuring the Bologna under tower, gaining a full 2-level lead, and it looks like Scorpion is now the target of Kennesaw State here. And there goes the first left side Scorpion, giving them that enhanced red and purple buff. Kennesaw State is now in a comfortable almost 3k, or rather 2.5k gold lead here. At 10 minutes, it is not a small margin by any means. However, it is not unplayable either. The main issue is that the level advantage Kennesaw holds right now makes it rather difficult for Madison to fight into them, but one good team fight with positioning will change all that. Giannis stuck in Yamoja thing, portals through, but Kukue and Fishhead waiting there. However, he portals out with his ult, and now it looks like Madison's in trouble. Nuwa having to run away in the fog. Kukue now being caught out, transforms into his Hulk form. Nuwa stunning off Kukue getting the root. Giannis portals back in, and Fishhead falls to the Giannis unstable vortex. Nuwa and Yamoja now both very low. Nemesis dashing in, able to pick up double with the Golden Blade hit, and Bologna jumping in too late with that ult to make a difference. And that is a 3-for-none trade in favor of of the Kennesaw State. And with that, they get red buff and might be setting their eyes now on that Gold Fury coming up soon. Instead, they decide to back to try and push that gold advantage they're gaining, and now after that, we'll probably start looking and grouping for that first major objective of the game. Again, with this sort of pressure in every lane, and yeah, we see that the King Arthur had the teleport relic there, being able to teleport into the fight, I believe, if I saw that correctly. And yeah, again, right now, Kennesaw being able to force these fights earlier. Nemesis looking for the Scorpion. I don't know if she has the health to get it. What am I saying? She has Shield and she is Nemesis with Golden Blade and Ninja Tabi. However, barely has enough mana at the end, but that right side Scorpion does fall. We see Cupid versus Apollo once more. Apollo being pushed really low under tower by Cupid. He does not ult away, and Cupid's ult is down, so a play might be made on Cupid here, and it looks like they're pinging it out. Cuculain and Yamoja both trying to make this play on Cupid without ult. Yamoja stunned, split off the mark, however rotates there. Cuculain ult there, Cupid beats it, and there comes the Apollo ult, a little off the mark as Cupid dashes away. Cuculain comes in, roots, we see the Nuwa, and that kill does go to Venom. Although, and at the same time, Collision dies in mid, trading it out. Although that was a lot of ults from UW Cardinal to pick up that Cupid, and they did end up losing their mid laner for it, at this point that might be a worth trade for them, as it does remove the pressure that Kennesaw State can put on the Gold Fury here. Cuculain, however, is out of position and is being looked at by Nemesis. The ult comes off right as his blink goes off, almost simultaneously actually, and there comes the Whirlwind of Steel and Rage, I believe it's called. Nemesis blinks after Cuculain, looking to get that last auto finish off, and she does find it, with Apollo and Yamoja now being left to try and box these three. Big double stun from Yamoja. However, Giannis ult comes over, does ting the Yamoja, while Apollo is not able to make it out of those three. Bologna now rotating over, and it doesn't look like Kennesaw State will be able to go for Gold Fury, again because that Cupid went down right then. However, they are still winning these trades in terms of kills, and being forcing UW Madison into a very rough position in terms of fighting back. We see signs of life in UW Madison being able to get the kill on Cupid, but it is right now a 3-12 differential in favor of Kennesaw State. And unless we see some major change in targeting here, and just like positioning to try and fight around the core that is right now the Cupid Nemesis, we're going to see a very hard game for UW Madison, and coming back will be very difficult. And right now, the Nemesis has already dealt more damage than he did on last game on the Robin, putting that god into work, showing that it's not only Fishy that can play this pick. Notes has Nemesis as well. We see that Xingqian has a ward now on Gold Fury, and being honest, Xingqian and Cupid are looking at this Apollo now, seeing if they can get a pick here. Apollo dashes away, gets out safely, it looks like. Every single lane right now is pressured back by Kennesaw State, and we see them meeting up now at the Gold Fury. Gold Fury has been started and is already at half, with none of UW Madison even close. And there goes the first objective towards Kennesaw State. We see the kill differentials now being 3-12, with the Nemesis notably being 4-0, all 3 kills actually being on the Cupid. And Madison weren't able to contest the Gold Fury and weren't even able to trade Pyro, as it looks like the Nemesis will now try and get this Pyro and solo it, while the rest of Kennesaw State looks for a fight. Nuwa gets in the air, able to escape Giannis Xingqian for the moment, dashes back, Xingqian Whirlwind, Rage, and Steel comes out. We see big jump in from Bologna, big ult. Giannis has to portal out. Xingqian still fighting. Apollo comes down on the Giannis, picks it up. Nemesis does secure the Pyromancer in the meantime. However, this teamfight is now greatly in the favor of Madison, able to pick up the kill there. I don't know if they see the Nemesis though, so Nuwa might be in a bit of danger still. However, A 2 kill for Pyromancer trade at this point in the game is super beneficial for Cardinal for getting back in this game, especially since the kills were both on gods that had yet to die, being the Giannis and the Jingxian. Ideally, they need to shut down this Nemesis here, and they do have her sighted. Kukulane jumps on her, Nemesis double dash away, gets hit by the flail by Bologna. Apollo dashing in, but she might be too far gone here, and it looks like they'll have to back off. Unfortunately, in the meantime, Cupid, while not a part of that teamfight, was able to get a tier 2 for free, and Nemesis kept her life, so that 4-man chase was for naught. Right now, again, that deficit closed a little bit, but there's still a 8k gold lead by 16 minutes. That's pretty much a full item that Kennesaw State has up on UW-Madison on each player coming into this mid-game phase, and when this Fire Giant is starting to be looked at. So, again, without something crazy happening, like either a huge Apollo, like we saw that last fight, catching Giannis off guard, or some sort of objective steal, it's still looking rather rough for Cardinal, as long as Kennesaw keep playing the way they have, which has been pretty flawless in terms of not getting picked. Right now, we do see a grouping around this Fire Giant with Nemesis, Cupid, and King Arthur all on this right side of the map. Cardinal responds, with Apollo being the only one right now on the left side. However, he can ult over at a moment's notice, so it's not a big worry. However, Nuwa does go pick up the red buff, and in the meantime, it looks like the Kennesaw State are eyeing up fire, and they have started it. However, Cardinal is most certainly aware and will almost undoubtedly try and contest here. Apollo is right now split pushing, taking the left. There comes the Emoja ult. Blue team secures it. That's Cardinal. They get the steal. Rearm gets the ult in, able to stun a bunch of people and get a kill. Emoja eats the King Arthur ult right now. There comes the Nuwa. Rearm out-trades the Nemesis, who has 2 levels on him. Emoja falls. Kukulane might fall here too, but right now we have Bologna running for her life. She might fall to the Jingxian, but we have Apollo pushing for Phoenix, Nuwa getting mid-tier 2, with both of them having Fire Giant, and Bologna lives! Venom out here almost getting the Phoenix. King Arthur has to blink on him. He serenades and runs away. However, as I was talking about, they needed something crazy to get this game back in their advantage, and that was exactly it. The Fire Giant steal, which I think was responsible of either Gator or Rearm there, one of the two, into the double kill by Rearm, where he managed to outbox a Bologna with 2 levels on him. All of a sudden, that 8k gold lead, down to just 3k. Those level leads are mostly erased now, with the only notable one still being in the jungle. But just like that, the difference between the teams has changed drastically, with, for the first time this game, Kennesaw State actually being under serious pressure. And with FG buffs still on Venom, Rearm, and Collision, UW-Madison is now in the driver's seat, being able to look to make some plays on some of the remaining towers, notably the right side, Tier 1 and Tier 2. It looks like Kennesaw State might be trying to go for the Fury on its respawn. However, Madison cannot be unhappy with how that last fight went, going 2 for 2 and at FG, as well as taking 2 Tier 2s. Yamoja out here carrying around an extra wide load. Got that? Yeah, Gator is Yamoja is one of his signature picks, and it has been popping off this game, being able to ult off that Fire Giant, cause a lot of chaos, and it looks like Madison's able to take that Tier 1 uncontested. It does look like Jingxian and Cupid will try and trade out Primal, while Giannis is looking at the last Tier 2. However, Cardinal seems satisfied to make this trade, with Apollo looking to defend Tier 2, and being able to take the right Tier 2 as well. Even though Red Team got the Primal Fury, right now it is a much more even game than it was a few minutes ago, and Cardinal has a very real fighting chance. Giannis portal out, Apollo in the air to try and chase him down. Giannis went into tower, surprisingly. Portal through again, but Nuwa comes through and picks him up. That's a huge pick on Giannis here for Cardinal. That was an insane play by Venom to make sure that both the Tier 2 tower stayed alive, with Collision being able to finish off the kill there. And it looks like Cardinal are back in this game and are not ready to give up quite yet. Um, wow. You know, looking at that fight when there was a 10k gold deficit going into that FG fight really was worrying, but at this point, it is now back into a game that either side can win, despite blue team being down 6 kills. Um, right now, well, the Apollo still does have the Fire Giant, so it is possible to look for a siege. However, I feel like it's much more likely that UW Cardinal is going to opt to wait for this next Fire Giant fight and try and take it there. Nuwa has now hit level 20. They look for the Pyromancer call here. Nuwa hitting level 20 means that she can get that Archmage gem online real soon, and Apollo also hit level 20. I believe in this point in the build, Venom likes to sell Death's Toll for either Wind Demon or Deathbringer. So we will see that Apollo come online very hard soon, and with despite Fisher being down quite a bit right now, and Rearm has now all of a sudden gotten ahead of the King Arthur despite being 2-2 versus 3-0, and the carries for UW Madison, the ones that are doing the most damage right now, are equal level. So this is a very real fighting chance. The biggest worry, I would say, is that you can see that Red Team right now is starting on those final items right now, and do have a lot of their starter evolutions picked up. But it is by no means different. It does make some difference in terms of bulkiness and damage, but it is not a game determiner by any means. If UW Cardinal has a fight where they position as well as they did on that last FG, they will be able to pull out of victory still, unless Kennesaw makes the proper adjustments to face it. And FG has respawned here. We do see that right now Kennesaw does have the side warded out. Nemesis looking for it, so Ward Vision is in favor of Kennesaw right now. However, both of teams are entirely grouped around this FG, trying to look for it. We see Jingxian and Arthur possibly baiting backs. No, Arthur actually backs here, interestingly enough. And Giannis and Jingxian are also backing, deciding to buy some last items before they're going to go for this FG fight, wagering that Madison won't press the issue right now. They stagger their backs as so they cannot start FG without contesting, and they know that Madison doesn't have deep enough wards to see what's happening. But yeah, this next FG fight is going to be huge in terms of determining who wins the game, with both sides trying to keep mid-pressure so their entire team can be there. If anyone gets picked out right now, that basically guarantees the FG towards the other team. We see Cupid and Jingxian pulling the FG right now. Colin does have eyes on it, though. At half, the firewall does come up. Madison's team is here to respond. We see that the balloon is looking. Fire Giant super low, goes in, they steal it once more, gets the Fire Giant again. Howard Fisher goes down, but Apollo ults in. Huge Cupid ult comes out, but they're mostly dead. The Giannis still alive, and unfortunately, Venom goes down, and despite that FG steal, it's a 3-for-0 trade for UW Madison. Fisher had the huge steal there, but unfortunately now Nuwa gets the kill on the Giannis, gets a bit of life back in, but unfortunately only Yamoja is still up, and she can't put up much of a defense, and that's a level 20 Cupid now barreling down towards your Phoenix, and the Yamoja's best bet is just going to be to try and stun them out and stall until they can't. She does still have ult left, so she might try and wall keep it off, and there it is. She walls keep it off. They hard turn Yamoja when that happens. King Arthur in the air. Yamoja tries to wall him off, however, it's not enough, and we're going to see this right side Phoenix go down. However, it looks like Gator probably bought enough time that they can't quite look for the end call yet, with Fishay coming up and now looking to defend himself. He doesn't have ult, however, meaning he won't be able to defend that tier 2, that Phoenix here, and unfortunately, it looks like both Phoenixes will go down relatively uncontested. However, Gator stalling there did prevent the game from being just over, and now it's going to be a very tough fight for Madison to get back in, even though they were able to get that FG. It's just an important reminder to go show like, even if you are able to secure that FG, if you position yourself poorly enough in the team fight after from doing that, then it's still going to be very difficult, with Fish having to blink in for that steal and then being left high and dry with no way out. That basically wrote the story for that team fight, as then Apollo ulted in with no one there to peel for him. Again, this is a little rough for Madison for sure. However, the player levels had caught up on everyone but the support, who is down by 4 levels. But the item differential here is also going to be hugely in favor of Kennesaw State. And then, again, just defending from a position with 2 Phoenixes down is always incredibly difficult, with that Titan being very frail, and for late-game Hunter standards at least, and being incredibly vulnerable to just the attack of the opponent, who are able to basically clear camps for free. Unfortunately, we will see that right now Madison is put into a very rough spot. It looks like Kennesaw will be looking for this left Phoenix, with both right and mid fire minions being pushed down into the base. They will likely wait until these minions get a little further into the base to force someone to split off and defend, and as soon as that happens, no, Jinxian blinks in early, goes for the ult, it doesn't find anyone, Giannis ult comes out. As far as the teamfight start goes, that is in favor. Big Yamoja ult capturing a lot of the team, forcing the Giannis ult through. Cupid ult comes down, able to find the Yamoja, but no one else. Nemesis goes in, Yamoja quite low right now. Kukulane picked up from the backline in King Arthur. However, right now, Kukulane is going ham, getting in there and pushing them off Phoenix. However, we do have to watch those right waves of minions, fire minions, now coming through and applying pressure, while only Bellona and Yamoja are left. And unfortunately, that allows Giannis and King Arthur to go through and look for this Yamoja, and left Phoenix falls. Apollo ult down on to trying to get Giannis, but doesn't quite get it. Cupid and Apollo, and King Arthur stunned out. But right now, all 3 Phoenixes are down, and UW Madison is forced to fight at Titan, and with Kennesaw State back in here, trying to get that health back, Cupid making an interesting play by standing by that portal, with Madison deciding to full-on chase him down, with leaving Nuwa and Kukulane to try and defend. Cupid does get picked as a result, however the Titan is now getting very low at half health, and Venom goes down to the Giannis, unfortunately, and right now, with that, there's not much that Madison can do. Their 2 mid and right Phoenixes are close to coming up, which will give them a little bit of hope. However, with their Titan at around half health, and Fire Giant coming up around the same time as the Phoenixes, this is going to be very difficult. However, that defense was huge, as that could have very easily been a game-ending push. But a big Yamoja ult, as well as evading the ults of the Cupid and Jinxian, nicely allowed for Madison to stay alive and push this game even further. If the next time that we see a siege here, we will likely see Kennesaw go for the Fire Giants and then look at the 2 Phoenixes again. In this state where the Phoenixes are so low, it might be worthwhile for they will be able to very freely dive these Phoenixes and kill them. And that is going to be a big worry for UW Madison moving forward. They are on the Fire Giant now. UW Madison can't really afford to contest. Fish is looking for the steal, though. He is in the area. He might try and jump in. He does try to claim to fame that he can steal any objective. However, he gets walled out by King Arthur and is not able to do it. Both Phoenixes are backed up, but at very low health, with Titan not regenerating and the left side being pushed in. And we're going to see Red Team push the issue right now and try and take these Phoenixes. We see Giannis ult through, Portal, get to, they're going straight to the Titan, trying to backdoor it looks like. However, Nuwa was positioned ready. The Giannis solos the back mid-Phoenix, Whirlwind of Rage and Steel picking up Yamoja. We see them focusing the Phoenix right now, Nemesis trying to hit it down. Venom does kill the Nemesis though, being able to push him off. Cupid is alive though still, which is the main worry, and Collision gets traded out here. However, again, they are still alive, and King Arthur might go down to Venom here. Venom gets another kill here, being huge for keeping them in it. However, right now, all it takes is a few shots from Cupid, and this Titan will go down. That defense was entirely crucial, though, for Madison to stay in this game. However, it is looking more and more grim as it goes on because, unfortunately, the respawn rates of Kennesaw are going to be much higher than those of the Phoenixes. They will come up much earlier, and Left Phoenix will come up soon, but the Titan isn't regenerating any health. It's going to be a very difficult fight, and at this point, it will take almost a full team wipe for Madison to be able to fight back into this. Which, if that happens, then they will be able to just go for the counter end. But thus far, we have seen that Red Team has struggled severely to try and find these end calls right now, and have not been able to get through. However, they do pick up Oni Fury, and they might try and push in with this Oni Fury coming up with the Oni waves, and I don't know how Madison will be able to contest that, as defending the minions as well as the Titan might just be too much for them. But we shall see. Left Phoenix does come back up. We see that Kennesaw is grouping up again, likely for another Giannis play. This time they might just try and dive the Titan once more because it is so low, and I don't know if Madison will be able to do anything about it. Nemesis is looking, they do see Nemesis showing face at the Phoenix. She is going to try and bait them a little bit away from the thing. And there's the Giannis going for the Titan. However, big Apollo Mez, big emotional, however they get through. Cupid is almost down. Cupid dies, Titan's still alive, Heart Bomb, and Nemesis closes it out. That was almost the defense that UW Madison needed. However, it wasn't quite there, with the Titan just being a little bit too low, and Kennesaw State being able to close it out. That is very unfortunate for UW Madison Cardinal, with them taking their first loss of the season, and Kennesaw pulling out a W here. And following that, I will look to see if I can get a post-game interview here, but I don't know how people will feel after that game. That is a very rough game to be coming off of, I'm sure, as there were many instances where UW Madison were almost able to fight back into it. I have been double messaged, where are you? They might be trying to pull me into their call. Give me 1 second. But yeah, that is a very rough loss.
Oh.
Hello. How are you guys
doing?
doing?
What channel you're in.
Here we have Collision and Venom with me. How are you guys doing after that rough match? I know that was a very rough loss.
It was unlucky. I don't know.
Bro,
I think we played
choked so hard.
I think we played pretty well. I really think we stole fire the second time, and that fight we didn't trade at all. We went 1 for 4. Eventually they traded Janice in solo lane, but
yeah,
we could have either left after that fire or I think Fish and Will got hit by the same stuff. Someone got space and timed.
Yeah, the issue was, at least from what I could see, when Fish blinked in for that fire steal, he got it, but then was instantly 5-man collapsed. Will dived in after him, but he was just hit super low, and then Venom was diving in with his ult.
I just missed the ult, dude.
And then after we staggered basically with Venom Apollo ulting in.
And then you had several super clean base defenses in a row trying to fight back into what are seemingly unbeatable odds. And even at the end, they're able to take down their damage carries. And if the Titan had a little bit more health, maybe it would have been able to.
Yeah, Cupid had Gator had a really good EML. Cupid had under 100 health after my new ult, but he got
he got
4 autos and a heart bomb off.
Yeah,
he got heart bomb and 4 autos. If he dies to the new ult,
it was entirely
if he doesn't get any Titan damage, we might win it, because Nem really was only getting slice and dice off, and then I was gonna hit her with a combo, but the game ended.
Yeah, no, it was very close, nevertheless. At the end of the day, it was a very close set, very enjoyable for everyone to watch, I'm sure. And is that your guys' first set loss of the season, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, honestly, that set is every team that's played them has gotten 2-0'd. They're the best. They're supposed to be the number 1 team out of our group.
Yeah.
We can only not make the top two if we lose to Illinois this Saturday. Maybe even if we won two, we're still in. So we just have to beat Illinois on Saturday. But
Well, that's good to hear.
it was a solid showing against KSU. A bit of a, I mean, it's hard. That game was really close, but
Oh,
like,
for sure. The thing is, at the end of the day, even though at the end of that game you guys did come out losing, it was still a very strong showing, and for being debatably the top team in your division, that does bode well, or it does bode well going forward for UW Madison Cardinal actually having a shot at taking on some of the more titan or more well-known teams in this tournament, the Titans of this tournament, if you will. As
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
actually.
I mean, maybe I'll be more annoyed in a bit, but like I'm pretty positive it wasn't. We played pretty well. I think each of us had like a troll moment, I guess, or like I don't know.
The
I
one
definitely like had a bad fight at like Gold Fury in game two. Like that was kind of
Yeah,
a tipping point, and then they were able to snowball with their double ADC. Like they're definitely just things you can look back on. But like we played game one really cleanly. We got to the
100%.
mid game like we wanted. So I
Yeah,
don't know. We'll just go. We can't really like get too upset or tilted because we play Illinois on Saturday. So
100%.
we'll
Yeah,
just have to go in and beat them, and we'll still make it out of group. And then seeding doesn't like seeding affects where you go in the bracket, but I mean you still have to beat everyone. So we just got to get to the 18 bracket, and then it's everyone is 0-0 at that point. So
for sure. At the end of the day, it is still very good to be able to have such a solid showing, be able to see what you can work on, what you can improve as a team, and see what you are doing well right now. And just all in all, it was a solid showing and a very entertaining game. And I look forward to seeing you guys play Illinois and seeing how you do if you do win that, how you do moving on through the bracket.
yeah, thanks for the cast. Well, also
Of course.
Venom, do you have anything you want to add?
I mean, yeah, they were good games. Both of them, we definitely could have won. That was rough.
Yeah,
But they won the set. They played well. I think there's a lot we can learn from those, though.
yeah.
Exactly.
We'll look at that. We could have won both, and just
Yeah.
go in positive into the next set. Because I mean, that's what we'll do. And maybe I'll play a god that has 4 abilities that you have to hit.
Yeah,
Right now, I just press 4, and have to focus on the other 3. Who knows? Maybe I'll play something else.
we'll see. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this post game interview, and yeah, looking forward to see your future games.
Yep.
Um, And with that, I think I will be closing out the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this game. Despite our team UW Madison Cardinal losing, it was still an incredibly fun set to watch, a fun set to cast, and I hope you join us for future games. Thank you.